Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you a little bit later than normal today on Tuesday because there's quite a bit of news sort of beginning to mill around about Arsenal this afternoon as we head towards the evening to bring you. We're looking very, very close now to a couple of players moving on, which I will talk about in this video, and also look ahead to that Liverpool game on Thursday, which I'm told, fingers crossed, is very much on, even with a couple of players potentially moving on. So all you non-Arsenal fans out there and everyone who's been taking pot shots at Arsenal, just calm down a little bit. This doesn't change anything, these two players who are going to be heading out the door, because Arsenal very much working towards Thursday night's game against Liverpool being on, which is great news because it should be a very, very good game. Anyway, let's talk transfers, shall we, and who could be leaving Arsenal. First one, Sead Kolasinac. He's actually in Marseille already. He's over in France, trying to tie up a move to Marseille, where he'll be joining Matteo Guendouzi and William Saliba. He is having his contract terminated at Arsenal. He was due to finish his contract in the summer, but after talks with Arsenal, we've come to a bit of a mutual agreement that contract can be terminated a little bit early, 6 months early, in fact, which will basically leave Kolasinac to be a free agent, and then he can complete his move to Marseille on a free transfer. So no transfer fee for Arsenal, but they do get Kolasinac off the wage bill between now and the end of the season, which is going to save them plenty of money, because I think Kolasinac is on about 100 grand a week. One of the big earners at Arsenal after that free transfer from Schalke. Arsenal didn't pay a transfer fee for him, obviously, which allowed them to give him plenty of money. And after what was a promising start to his Arsenal career, he's certainly gone downhill, and he's barely played this season. I think 5 games in all competitions this season for Kolasinac. Certainly not worth the wages that he's been getting, and this will allow Arsenal to save a bit of money between now and the end of the season. Weird one, Kolasinac, isn't it? I think, like, also when he first burst onto the scene, when he first arrived, scored the goal against Chelsea in the Community Shield on his debut, and he just like this really buccaneering, attacking fullback that we'd heard about when he was at Schalke. But then it just all seemed to dry out, didn't it? The assists, the quality of his left foot when he got into decent positions down in the attacking third. He just seemed to lose all confidence in himself going forward, and you'd see he'd get himself into positions where in those first few months when he was at Arsenal, where he would have taken a shot on, he didn't do it, and he just went downhill from there. Really lost his way, lost his confidence, had loan spells, didn't work out, and now I think it's best for all concerned that he moves on. I mean, I know Arsenal aren't getting a transfer fee for him, but let's face it, who's going to pay money for Kolasinac at this stage of his with 6 months left of his contract and the wages that he was getting? Arsenal were never going to get a buy from him in this window, so it's probably best for all parties that he goes on. Fair play to Sead, though. He's always been very professional, Kolasinac. He's never really moaned about anything. He's not really sulked anything like that, and when he has been called upon, he's always been there to play. He's been pretty professional, I think, Sead, and he's never down tools or anything like that. He's not really caused any problems behind the scene, unlike others in recent years. So he's always been a popular member of the squad, so fair play to him for that. He's also been pretty brave, isn't he? We all remember those the incident of sort of scaring off the robbers when he and Mesut got attacked. Had a bit of a cult status for that as well. So shame it never really worked out for him, but good luck to Sead. That's a deal that hopefully should be done in the coming days. Like I said, he's over in Marseille at the moment to complete that move to the side where he'll meet up with William Saliba and Matteo Guendouzi, which would be quite interesting. Marseille becoming a bit of a Arsenal feeder club almost over in France. So he's on his way, and it looks like Pablo Murray will be as well. Now, Murray will not be leaving permanently, not yet anyway. Unlike Kolasinac, that's not going to be a mutual consent free transfer or anything like that. That's going to be a loan until the end of the season with Udinese. From my understanding, both Kolasinac and Murray have been given permission to leave London Colney. Now, we know that Kolasinac is in France. I believe Murray is in Italy now ahead of that move. They're not in London anymore. That will be a straight loan until the end of the season. As I said in yesterday's video, no obligation for Udinese to buy. As I said yesterday, it feels like Arsenal are doing that more and more now because they don't want to be kind of a transfer fee set in stone because someone can do really well and suddenly their transfer fee could spiral. But they're tied into a deal that they've agreed 6 months earlier when maybe he hadn't been playing much football. And they end up getting not as much money as a player is worth. And you just look at what's been going on with Mavropanos over in Germany and his performances, and looks like that's going to be a deal that is done because of an obligation that was put into the loan deal with Stuttgart at the time he signed. And now his performances over in Germany, the fact that other clubs are looking at him as well, Arsenal could potentially have received 3, 4, 5 times the amount had they not had that obligation written into the loan agreement. So I think they've probably learnt their lessons from that, and that's what we're seeing with Murray. We're seeing it with Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well as Roma, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see it with anyone else who potentially goes out on loan, if indeed someone does go out on loan between now and the end of the transfer window. That one as well, with Pablo Murray expecting, similar to Kolasinac, to be done relatively quickly by the end of the week, I would predict, but we'll have to wait and see when official confirmation of that one comes. In terms of any other Arsenal transfers, not too much still to bring you in terms of incomings, unfortunately. I know everyone got very excited yesterday when Dusan Vlahovic was doing his waves at the crowd, and people thinking, is he waving goodbye? I think everyone just gets so mad in the transfer window, don't they, seeing things that aren't really there. I think it's pretty clear that he wasn't waving goodbye. He was apologising for the penalty miss in the first half. Everyone who's sort of connected with Italian football knew what he was doing. Arsenal fans on social media just got very, very excited, thinking there was far more to it than there was. And as far as I'm aware, nothing's moved on with that. It still feels like an unlikely one to happen in this window, but we'll have to wait and see on it. And with Arthur, speaking to someone today over in Italy who is very well connected over there, he believes this is going to be a very crucial week when it comes to Arthur. Nothing's really changed in it. Arthur wants to move to Arsenal. Arsenal want to sign Arthur on loan until the end of the season, but Juventus want to sign a replacement. And if they don't sign a replacement, they don't want to let Arthur go. Now, this week, as far as I'm being told, from someone over in Italy, that this is a big week in terms of Juve potentially bringing in a replacement. They're looking at this is Zakiri, is it, and Bruno Guimaraes over at Lyon as well. If they can get something done for either of those two players, then that will free up Arthur to complete his move to Arsenal until the end of the season. And that's where we are in that situation. So we're going to have to wait and see what unfolds in the coming days. I mean, at the moment, Arsenal very much concentrating on Thursday night's game. I don't think there's going to be any new additions ahead of that one. Certainly, whether there's anything done by Sunday, I think certainly Arthur is by far away the closest out of any potential new arrival. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, if Juventus can get anything done in the coming days for potential replacements, then that should free up the Brazilian to make the move to Arsenal. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens. Let me know what you think, because what are we now? We're on the 18th of January, something like that. So not long left, less than 2 weeks left of the transfer window. What do you think so far of what's going on at Arsenal? Disappointed by no new arrivals? Did you expect any new arrivals, or you think Arsenal at the moment just sort of clearing the ships, which they certainly are doing at the moment? Kolasinac, the latest one. And that squad that we saw was so massive not long ago, just a year ago, mate. You think of the size of the squad and you think how streamlined it is now. They've done an awful lot of work when it comes to revamping this squad. It's looking very, very different now to what it did, but there's no doubt about it. It still needs a couple of quality additions. But as I said for a while, for me and for what I've been hearing, the focus still very much is on what can happen on the summer. If something can happen early this month and the opportunity arises and everything aligns and falls into place, and they will look to try and get it done. But if it doesn't, they're not going to panic. They're not going to do things they don't want to do. They're not going to rush into signing someone they don't want to sign. They're going to continue to focus on their main targets of that central midfielder and the striker, and they will do that in the summer. So Arsenal, willing to be patient. I think we're going to have to be willing to be patient as well. But you never know. We'll wait and see what happens. In terms of the Liverpool game then, let's turn our attentions to that. There's been lots of scaremongering almost on social media, lots of rumours. This one could be under threat as well because of what's happened. Everyone's been throwing their toys out of the pram about Arsenal letting Murray go, letting Kolasinac go, which is just utterly ridiculous. What does that matter? What does letting them go this week matter to the Tottenham game getting called off at the weekend? It doesn't. I mean, how are Arsenal not allowed to do any transfer business now because they called off one game that's already in the past? It's just madness. But I'm not going to go into another rant because I did that yesterday. But as far as I'm aware, the Arsenal very much working towards this Liverpool game is going to be on. I'm told it's not in doubt or anything like that. And not surprised as well, because my understanding is Martin Odegaard is now back at London Colney. He missed out in the first leg against Liverpool because of a positive test for COVID. He would have missed the game against Tottenham as well. But I understand he is now back at London Colney. And a lot of the injured players as well are hopeful of being fit for that one. So you look at Smith Rowe, look at Tomiyasu as well. They were at London Colney today. Who the players who got injured in the first leg at Liverpool? Saka picked up an injury. Callum Chambers picked up an injury. Those players are hopeful as well of making it. One player who I think isn't going to make it, unfortunately, is Cedric Suarez. But if Tomiyasu's back, then that shouldn't matter too much, because Tomiyasu will just come in and play it right back. But Suarez limped off in that first half against Liverpool with a hip problem, and it's looking doubtful, certainly, that he will recover in time. So he's the one from that Liverpool game in the first leg that looks unlikely to make it. But when you look at Tierney, Saka, and Chambers, who all picked up knocks, who all probably would have missed the game against Tottenham at the weekend, they are hopeful of being fit. Everyone's at Colney today. There's going to be another training session tomorrow. That will be the final training session ahead of the game against Liverpool, and then everyone will be assessed, and hopefully Arsenal will give the green light to most of them to return. Mikel Arteta's press conference is tomorrow afternoon. I think it's 1:30. The confirmation has come through of that, so we'll learn a little bit more potentially about team news, who is fit, who isn't. It'll be very interesting to get his reaction to some of the headlines and the controversy that has been caused, the criticism that come Arsenal's way in the sort of fallout from the Tottenham game being postponed. Antonio Conte's had his say today in his press conference, saying that he was very, very surprised. He'd never known it before, for a game to be called off for injuries. I did see Brendan Rodgers speaking about it as well, and Brendan Rodgers, I thought, spoke very well about the situation, saying, look, rules are rules. We all know what they are. They are there in black and white. 13 players, one goalkeeper. If you don't have that, you can apply for the game to be called off, which is what Arsenal did. Fair enough with that one. So I thought Brendan Rodgers spoke very well about the situation. It'll be very interesting to hear what Mikel has to say as well. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for watching today. Appreciate your time. As always, please do keep checking my social medias. Find me on Twitter at Charles_Watts. You'll find me on Facebook as well. Any breaking news when it comes to Arsenal transfers, team news, anything like that head against Liverpool, please do check out. I'll put it all up there, and it will all obviously go on goal.com as well. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a very good evening. I'll speak to you soon.